Okay, and here we are on Stranded, the Australian Canadian Music and Talk Show for another week. And every now and then, an email pops into my inbox, someone who is absolutely tailor-made for this radio show, someone with connections to both countries, Australia and Canada, and they are a musician as well. So that's a triple, double, quadruple bonus. A person I'm talking about today is Scott Rudd. He's visiting from New York. He was born in Vancouver, raised in Australia, and lives in New York. And he was in town just the last week playing some shows. Scott Rudd, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good. Thanks so much for coming down. Like I said, tailor-made for the show. Yeah, you found the show somehow online. What is your connection to Australia?
Yeah, my dad's Australian, and I grew up there. I moved there when I was 5, and pretty much through all my formative years or whatever, I grew up there from 5 to 18, and then I was born in Vancouver, so when I was 18, we moved back here, and I actually went to UBC. And then that's how I knew about the radio show.
I wondered, because I said, do you know where you're going? Yep, no worries. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Many people have been lost on the way.
I was telling someone else before, I used to be a photographer for the Discorder magazines many years ago. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. They're actually just having a meeting, right?
There you
can
go.
Look through that's the Discorder meeting.
This is many years ago.
Yeah. So, and then presumably you were playing music too around that time in Vancouver? Or?
Not really, to be honest. I've played guitar since I was about 15. My dad bought me a guitar in Australia, and I took some lessons, and then I never really did anything too serious with it. I would just, jam around at home in my room, and, I loved playing music, and I'd always be making up little songs on the spot, never really writing them down or anything. And even while I was here, same thing, I was just sort of playing every now and then, not really writing definitive songs that I would remember. I would just be jamming around. And then it wasn't until 2009 that I actually sort of a light went off, and I said, I'm gonna start writing these songs down and perform. So
wow. So let's why don't we start out with the song right now?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, this is Scott Rudd.
Okay. We should come over, I'll let you in. I'm so tired of being friends. I'm so tired of being friends. Moving forward, then it all just stops. I'm so tired of feeling lost. I'm so tired of feeling lost. My head is broken and my heart is cold. I'm so tired of feeling old. I'm so tired of feeling old. try to find a new way to get more. I'm so tired of being bored. I'm so tired of being bored. It's been 4 years staring at a wall, and I'm so tired of feeling small. I'm so tired of feeling small.
Ah, wonderful, beautiful acoustic track there from Scott Rudd, live in the studio here at CiTR Radio for Stranded, the Australian Canadian Music Show. The track was called
Feeling Small.
Feeling Small. And it's amazing. That was the one I was listening to actually over and over, preparing a beautiful track. And it's from an EP or a full-length, I guess, album you put out?
Yeah.
Called Feeling Lonely, was that?
Lonely Life.
And, I mean, that's a very stark statement, Lonely Life. Were you literally chronicling a period of your life in New York where you were?
Yeah, I had gone through a breakup when I left, because like I said, I went to school here, and then I kind of worked around for a year, and then I moved to New York, and I was seeing someone at the time and had to break up with them when I moved, and kind of took me a while to get over that, but then also I just sort of just felt kind of depressed about a bunch of things. The first song I wrote for that album was written in 2005, and then I didn't really do much. And then in 2009, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do... And then I wrote all the other ones. So,
I see.
So it sort of changed a little. The first one was like a heartbreak song, and then the rest of them were kind of about like just being depressed and not knowing what I was doing in my life.
Yeah. And did you find that, because there was that gap there, did the rest of them come pretty quickly in succession, the song ideas?
Yeah, they all kind of came within the same year, or most of them within the same year.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. And so New York, what is New York to you? Was it how did you end up there? Was from Vancouver?
Well, I started studying a lot of photography, looking at images and stuff when I was in school. Kind of became very drawn to a certain visual style or something, and I kept finding that I was really attracted to the time period, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, in a lot of images in New York, a lot of imagery that I was looking at I liked, and then I just sort of felt this connection to it. I can't really say anything else except that it felt like home or comfortable to me without ever having been there. I just felt this weird pull, and then when I went there, it just totally made sense. It felt totally right to me. I don't know. It was weird. It's almost like I'd been there before or something. It was weird. Yeah.
And like music then, like the sense of musical history in New York too, has that been a big part of you forming a new identity there too, or are you quite a lover of music from the past or even contemporary of stuff that's happening there?
Well, it's interesting. When I went there, I wasn't thinking so much about music as much as photography, because I was really into photography, and that's what I do for work and stuff. And then the music that I've been listening to a lot now are my friends who are from there. I like the music scene there now, a lot of things going on. But in terms of historically, I guess I was never really that in tune with the music, as more the imagery, the photos and stuff. And
that is how you that is your day-to-day work currently.
Yes.
is photography. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Are you ready for another song?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
All right, here we are, Scott Rudd in the CiTR studios with another acoustic track.
different worlds. And showed me where it was you'd grown, and told me things I'd like to know. Oh, what a shame, a shame, a shame. Two different worlds. Now I'm walking in the street with blisters forming on my heels. Oh, what a shame, a shame, a shame. Two different worlds.
Hello, this is Tony Bardock of the Pointed Sticks, and you're listening to CiTR 101.9 FM in Vancouver.
That song, I was in a bizarre long-distance relationship with a girl I met in Spain a few years ago, and that's the fallout of that. That song describes the fallout of that relationship. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. Yeah.
And what was the song called?
Two Different Worlds.
Two Different Worlds.
Yeah.
And how can we find that on?
Yeah, it's on my. If you go to the website, which is www.scottruddmusic.com, if you look on the bottom right, there'll be like a barren landscape. That's an EP I released last year called Demos.
Demos.
It'll be on there.
2012. Okay.
Yeah.
But all wonderful lo-fi. You've made a conscious choice to keep things lo-fi and just the guitar and vocals. Yeah.
For the next one, I would like to get a bit more accompaniment, but still like very simple. Like Lonely Life, I had some cello and some harmonies on there, but pretty simple stuff. I think I'd like to get some strings and maybe some keys on the next one. Just got to wrangle the troops, get them together, basically.
And actually probably lied. I just noticed before that you actually have a film clip of that. And it's very unusual because it's kind of one shot. What can you tell us for people if they could visualize in their mind what they would see?
On the website there is an image, which is a still photograph I took of myself in a very, very troubled moment relating to Spain and what was going on there. That picture was actually taken on the beach in Barcelona. I had gone back to Spain to try and make amends with this person, and all these hopeless journeys happen like this. Didn't work out, and I happened to be laying on the beach while she was on the phone making plans to meet another guy. And she was speaking in Catalan, and it was a pretty horrible moment. But anyway, I recorded her speaking with my phone. I did a voice recording of her talking to this other guy, and I took a photo of myself at that exact moment, just to preserve how truly devastated I was. And then I ended up using it in the song. I used the voice recording of her, and it's sampled into the song.
Wow.
For the music video, I had the image of just that still shot, but recreating it as a video. So my friend and I went to Coney Island and sort of just tried to recreate that moment, that shot,
Oh.
and but as a sort of very subtly moving image. So it's a video of me like frozen in that moment, sort of. It's the best way to describe it,
see,
maybe.
yeah.
So it is live action, but it's very static, like the still shot.
Like
Yeah.
recreating
that
yeah.
moment, yeah. So that was the idea. It was very simple.
Yeah.
I wanted to recreate that moment further. So
Okay.
yeah, my friend wore a wig and everything. No,
Yeah.
just joking.
Well, then, keeping on the subject of photography, what can you tell us about your day-to-day work there in New York? Like, what sort of photography do you do?
Yeah, for work, I do a lot of fancy parties. So it's not the most creative type of photography, but it's not bad. So I photograph a lot of art openings or movie premieres or like really kind of fancy private events, like say a company's trying to wine and dine its clients or something. I'll show up with a suit on and take pictures of people enjoying the party and things like that. It's gotten a little more creative over the last few years because I've started just sort of doing mainly candid pictures of these things, and people seem to be really responding to that versus the hey, can I get you guys together for a picture? And so I've been doing a lot more of that and have a little more fun with it and being more creative than I was at first. And at first I was a little confused as to what I was doing and why I was doing it. Like from an artistic standpoint, I was like, well, what is this about? But it was a great job. I can't complain. But it was confusing me, and that's why I got quite depressed and then turned to music in 2009. But that's what really brought me back to playing music. Was I needed something that I could say was mine 100%, and it wasn't for anyone else. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, some of the photographs you have on your ScottRidePhotography.com site are clearly more artistic.
Yeah, that's personal work. Yeah.
Yeah. And you say because they're, there's a real outsider flavour. There's individual characters here, and you mentioned that they're people who live in your neighbourhood.
They're my neighbors. We all live in the same building.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people.
Right. So that's at ScottRidePhotography.com.
Yeah. I would have had ScottRide.com with sections, but it's a real estate agent, so I couldn't take it. So.
Okay.
I had to separate it.
And a mixture here of black and white and colour photos from it looks like this big old building somewhere in New York.
Yeah, it's an old rooming house. It's a really, really, really beautiful building that hasn't really been touched since the 30s. The building's from the 1800s, and it's interesting because it's exactly what I imagined New York would be when I went there. In my this image that was speaking to me or whatever. I imagined this, and then when I got there, I was like, well, I felt a connection with it, but I saw a lot of people living in more modern style living. But I felt this pull to this sort of old world thing, and then I found this place, and I don't know, fate was good to me. I found it, and then I've been living there for almost 9 years, and the building's been sold, and it's the new owners are trying to get rid of everyone. So it's kind of a sad time, and hopefully we can stay there for as long as possible. But it's kind of depressing the situation. But it's a beautiful history. Like that building has housed hundreds of people over 100 years almost. So yeah. Well,
it's great that you spent time there and were inspired. New York City, wow, what an amazing place. And speaking of your photography, Scott, I just noticed your the cover shot for Lonely Life is just one gentleman, a black and white photo, and I'm sure you took it because you are a photographer.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
That is an elevator attendant. I was photographing a party in a pretty fancy building in New York, and I think it was like the Upper East Side or something. And I was leaving the party. It's a kind of a funny story. It was a party for Stevie Wonder, and I was in the elevator with Stevie Wonder. But I was really fascinated by this guy, the elevator attendant. So when everyone left, I stuck around and asked if I could take a picture of him. He was really nice. He said, "Yep," and he didn't say anything to me. He just kept doing his thing, and I went up and down a couple of times and took some pictures. And I don't think he knows, but he has now become my official mascot. He goes everywhere.
He does, because I've seen. I saw a little pile of your little cards.
Yeah.
Around here. So he is there. He's been dropped in all sorts of places.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a flight attendant, and every now and then she gets a package, and he's been around the world. It's like that gnome in that movie. Where
Yeah.
So,
It's hilarious. It just occurred to me we haven't even really spoken too much yet about Australia, because you did spend a good 18 years there.
yeah, I could start talking Australian if you want me to. Yeah, yeah. I lived there for 18. No, I lived there for 13 years, mate. You know.
How about another song, and then we'll
Sure,
come back
yeah.
to that? Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
I can't say too much in Australian anymore, but yeah. Let's see.
So we're talking with Scott Rudd. He is Canadian-born, Australian-raised, and New York City living musician and photographer, and he's in town in Vancouver. He's already played a string of shows, but not to worry. One day I'm sure we'll have him back, and we'll let you know again. Take it away, Scott.
Sure. I usually visit around Christmas time.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the sign. I'm holding on, but I'm not trying. Loved me again. I hope someday we can be friends. I hope someday we can be friends. And the signs. Waiting for a different life. Waiting till things are right. And I'm holding on, but I'm not trying. I'm holding on, but I'm not trying.
Hello, this is Tony Bardock of the Little Guitar Army, and you're listening to CiTR 101.9 FM in Vancouver.
Okay, wow. Thank you, Scott Rudd, for another live track here in the CiTR studios. What was that track?
No Longer Trying.
No Longer Trying. A fairly recent composition.
A couple of years ago. That was on Lonely Life. Yeah, so a few years ago. A few years old. Yep.
Yeah, written in New York, written in that very hotel.
Yeah.
It just seems like just from what I can see, that just the most inspired place. It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, the whole album was written there, and half of the album was recorded in my room there.
I figured as much. Yeah. Actually, I have to say before we go any further, I'm curious about guitars. I'm learning myself now, and I'm already starting to feel that sort of attachment to a specific instrument. And I know you've got this old Yamaha nylon string. Is there any story behind that, or is it a favorite?
Yeah. This guitar was not mine until I borrowed it and never returned it. I was playing steel string for a long time, and this was in 2009. I was about to play my first show, and there was a girl singing with me at the time, and we were rehearsing at her friend's place, and this was her friend's guitar. And she let me, I was just playing on it. I really liked the sound of it, and she let me borrow it, and really, really fell in love with this guitar. And I kept offering to buy it from her, or, do you want it back? What's going on? And she said, oh, no, it's okay. Just hold on to it. Just give it back to me, and I didn't really want to give it back at that point, and I kept offering to buy it, and then I just, didn't really hear from her anymore, so I'm hoping that won't ask for it back at this point. It's been several years. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of good has come from it since.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even that nylon just reminds me a little bit of the early Destroyer. He's a Vancouver artist, and some of his early records had the nylon strings. Great sound. Scott Rudd is here in the CiTR studios. He's visiting. Now, he was born in Vancouver, but spent quite a few years in Australia. Now, Tweed Heads, right?
Correct, yeah.
Tweed Heads, for any of the listeners, is in Queensland, close to the...
No, it's New South Wales.
Oh, hang
it's
on.
on the border.
It's on the border.
Yeah,
okay.
Coolangatta's in Queensland, but they're the same thing, basically.
Okay. So it's sort of like Ottawa and Hull, or something, or like, what's it? Minneapolis and what's the other one? Is there Minneapolis and St. Paul? That's it.
The border runs right through. Tweed Heads is part of Twin Towns, which is Coolangatta and Tweed Heads. Coolangatta being in Queensland and Tweed Heads being in New South Wales.
Okay.
So you have the border, like this little bridge that goes through the center of the town, and it you cross from one town into the other. But it's like the same thing, but just the border runs right through it.
Okay. And it must have been a pretty cool place to grow up, because it's very coastal, very beach-like.
Mm-hmm.
So what age are we talking here?
From 5 to 18.
Wow, great! Oh, that's the absolute formative years. So you were definitely there's an Australian in you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I know you weren't a performing artist at that time.
Not at all. But
you were just living your life.